reasons, but I think just my taste is a little bit more old-fashioned, and I think a lot of modern stuff has become very lowest common denominator, and it is about, you know, every 5-7 minutes they got to give something to shock it or excite an audience. And I feel like that's sort of condescending to an audience. Nothing against those movies, not that they can't be enjoyable, but it does seem like it's as if the audience is full of dumb people who, if you don't like constantly tease them, they just lose interest. And it might be true for a lot of people, but it's just not my taste, so I don't make movies that way. I also think it's weird because slow burn is something that only seems to apply to the horror genre. Like, no one would say like it's a slow burn comedy, or it's a slow burn drama. Like, it's just, and it's solely just because people have this anticipation of a high body count or some sort of gore. And I think what's exciting about the horror genre for me is that there's all these different approaches to horror films, and I think it's a very narrow-minded way to look at it, to say that everything should have tons of gore and tons of kills. It's like there should be those, but there should also be other stuff. And that's kind of the beauty of the genre, is that it is, in a way, like a progressive kind of experimental genre, unlike anything else. So whatever, that's the spectrum that I fall into, is the slow burn version. So, but I'm happy to be there. It's fine.
And I think the target audience really likes your style.
I appreciate it.
Let's throw it out to the audience. We've got some questions. We've got some from Fang. We want to ask Ty about this fantastic film you just seen. Just raise your hand. We go over there. Go.
Yeah. Was it always your intention to kill Sarah off at the end, or was that something?
Yeah, it was. I remember there was a point when we were shooting, we had shot a few days and we were doing some quirky Sarah stuff, and Elliot, the DP, was like, dude, this is going to be a bummer that she dies. But I think, you know, you can't really have a ghost story without tragedy, so it is what it is. But it is unfortunate. I mean, she is so charming and so, like, adorable. And the goal of the film was to make a charming film and to make a movie that you really can align yourself with the characters and either relate to them, or they remind you of people you know, and they feel three-dimensional, so that way when the horror stuff really starts happening, you actually genuinely are bummed about it. Instead of like rooting for her to get killed. It was not the approach.
Got some more? Any hands? Go for it.
I enjoyed it. Just wondering, at the end, why the door closing? You know, you had an opportunity there to have her scare everybody. Instead you have the door closing.
The door closing at the end.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about her scaring. I mean, I think it would have been a little silly to have her scare. I mean, part of it is, one, it's a callback to the beginning of the movie. Two, it was sort of the end of the film and it's the closing of the chapters and all this stuff. So, and she's not a malicious spirit. I couldn't find any logic to make her scare. But I did want you to think that it was going to be like the scare at the beginning of the movie, and then kind of misdirect you. So that, I mean, from a technical standpoint, that's the point of that.
Over there.
In terms of the screenplay, because there's like the typical 110-page rule, because it's got such a build, I was just wondering how long it was, and if you pitched it, how would you pitch it? Because it seemed like it would be a lot shorter on the page, but a lot longer on the screen.
I don't remember. It was in the 90s, probably. But I just pitched it sort of as this ghost story that was going to be, it was the same people that paid for House of the Devil, so we were kind of on a roll at the moment, and I just was like, I got another one, we've got a window we can make it, and we can make it for a little bit cheaper. And that was the selling point, was we can make it for less and less. So I'm succeeding backwards, and that was very helpful. But yeah, I don't remember. It was in the 90s. It was like, you know, it looked like a normal script. Yeah, it's a chatty movie. It has a lot of dialogue in it.
We got some more hands. Do we have anybody want to throw anything out? Go for it.
I love the cameo in You're Next.
Thank you.
Give it up for the. Has anyone seen You're Next? Fantastic scene. Where's Ty? So who would you cast as a cameo in one of your movies?
I don't know. You know, someone that's a good friend of mine who's also in You're Next, who I think steals the movie, is Joe Swanberg. And I've been trying to put him in a movie for a million years as well. There's some Joe Swanberg fans here, that's cool. Joe almost was Pat Healy's character in this. So I think Joe would be the director that I would do. It's not a very exciting name in the world of, like, I could have picked anyone, but that's who I would pick.
Over there, go.
Why does Bo Derek get a special thanks at the very end?
Special thanks to Bo Derek.
Yeah. Because I met with her about the movie, and she was a sweetheart, and she was great. And she didn't end up being in the movie, but for no real reason other than she just isn't. but she was just really cool. So I feel like in the time of like the struggle of getting the movie made and the struggle of finding the right people, when you meet really cool people and it's a shame that you don't work with them for whatever reasons you do, it was just a nod. There's a few people like that were very supportive of the movie despite not being a part of it at the end.
Over here.
Just one thing I noticed from the movie is that it was mentioned that there were 3 ghosts, but I only saw 2.
For people at the back,
there's 3. It's kind of one of those things. It's like it's better that you kind of on the ride home go, because if I tell you, then it's sort of like, I made the movie. But it's slightly ambiguous. It's not as ambiguous. Like if you saw the movie a second time, I think it's more apparent. And the other person's question sort of relates to it. So it's certainly there, but it's slightly ambiguous. But yes, there are 3. I didn't just forget.
Over there, in the middle.
If you could change one thing about the film, what would it be?
What an odd question. I would have made it for $75 million.
Anybody want to throw some? Go for it.
Sure. Quick, favorite ghost story movie, go.
Favorite ghost story movie?
Changeling.
I was sort of curious about the spirit. You're saying that she's not really malicious, and she's sort of depicted as a bit of like a victim, I guess, in the stories, but she sort of seems malicious towards the end. I was wondering about that.
But those are the back.
That Sarah seems malicious towards the end?
Well, she's malicious towards Sarah. She's trying to escape.
Oh, you mean the Madeline O'Malley ghost? It does seem that way, but it's it's one of those things. It's like maybe she was evilly going after her, or maybe she was trying to help her. But she's quite frightening looking. So whatever she's trying to do is being lost regardless because she's a scary looking ghost. And I think that's part of the theme sort of throughout. Is that what was important to me about the movie also was to be able to make a very clear case. Like if you're a skeptic, you could look at the movie and say there were no ghosts. She got in over her head. Her paranoia led to her getting really anxious, and she eventually locked herself in the basement, had an asthma attack. And there's a reasonable explanation for everything in the movie. And I feel confident that it's all there. Or you could come to it from like a believer's perspective, and it could be this ghost story, and there could be these ghosts that always have been in this hotel, and you do have a preconceived destiny and whatnot, and it's unavoidable. And I think it's one of those things that, going to his question as well, there's some ambiguity to it, but it's also like it's kind of up to you guys as an audience to be a little proactive about it and sort of decide what side you lie on. Because one thing that was interesting about making the movie is that this is the most haunted place I've ever been in my life, but I still don't believe in ghosts. But it's as close as I've ever come, but I didn't see any ghosts. So like, if I see a ghost, I'll change my mind, but for me, like it's so haunted there, yet, I don't know. So I come to it kind of as a skeptic, so, I did work very hard at having there be 2 clear directions of the movie that way.
I just want to come in on that. Did any of your cast or crew experience anything paranormal while you were actually making the film?
Yeah, I mean, everybody else seemed to believe it was haunted, but, it's a weird place. It's old. It's like part 1800 historic architecture, part bad 70s renovation. There really is a Luke at the front desk that like has a ghost hunting website, and everything is like understaffed and everyone's lazy. Like doors open and close by themselves. The phone would ring in my room, and you'd answer it, and no one would be on the other line, which is strange. TV would turn off and on by itself. But it's like everything is so ancient there that like all these things could just be, well, someone opened the door at the other end of the hallway and your door closes and whatnot. The only thing I can say that I can't explain is that since I've done 2 tours there now, there's a weird vibe there, and you have very vivid dreams almost every night, which is something that I don't experience. Like at the hotel I'm at now, it's not scary at all. I don't have any dreams, but there I have this reoccurring dreams, and everyone on the crew did as well. And that's very strange. And then the only true story that I have is like the room in the movie that's the sort of haunted room in the film. The only reason we picked that room is because it was at the end of a hallway, and it was big enough to do like a dolly shot that I wanted to do. So it was purely for technical reasons. It wasn't because the room was so perfect. It was just like, we need the end of a hallway, and I need something big enough so she can walk to the door. So that's the only reason we picked it. Well, I found out that after we finished shooting, that's the haunted room in the hotel. I don't know, maybe I just picked that room. Or, maybe it was meant to be. But it's hard to say.
Over there.
Did you stay in the hotel?
Yeah, we lived and shot there. So it would be like, what's call time? 6. All right, I'll meet in the lobby. Which was a weird way, and we ate all our meals there. It was a very, it was really great for the movie because we made this movie so quickly. We made it in 17 days, which is like nearly impossible. And it's because we only one time had to leave the hotel, but it was really claustrophobic, and it's weird to have gone back there a second time, and I'm like so terrified I'll have to go back a third time.
Okay.
Are you going to continue to work in the genre, or do like maybe a monster piece or?
So other genre films you might be?
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhat of an accident that I made this many horror movies, but I'm not opposed to it. I've got a few more in me. I mean, it's weird, I've made 5 horror movies in 6 years, which is sort of a lot to... So when you set out to make another one, and it's like, more, like, certainly if you go into a more commercial scale, it's like more scares, and it's like, or more blood. And having done that for years now, it's like, you don't get as excited about shooting the blood on the wall as you did when you made your first one. Or you don't get as excited about the thing popping out as you did, because it's become just technical. So you lose a little bit of the enthusiasm for it. So to me, it's important not to repeat myself. I have this science fiction movie that's set up and ready to go, and I have a werewolf movie that's the same. They're both different enough that I'm comfortable with those, and I have a couple other ideas. But I think eventually I'll just take a break and do some other stuff. I mean, I'm sort of these genre-ish. I think my taste is always going to be kind of edgy or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it's like I don't want to say like I've gotten good at the scare thing, but like I do know how it works enough that when you shoot it, you're just kind of like this again. So you got to find something to make me excited, because you spend a year and a half traumatized making a movie, and like you really like have to be excited about it, or else that would just be like a mega downer. So.